Moscow says its recent aerial strikes were in response to Kyiv's escalating drone strikes. Russia accuses Ukraine of targeting civilians and also claims that Kyiv is deliberately trying to sabotage ongoing peace talks. Russian forces struck the Ukrainian city of Sumy and nearby districts, hitting an industrial site, homes, as well as vehicles. Ukraine's Air Force says that it shot down 43 out of 60 Russian drones launched overnight. Ukraine has also claimed that its forces struck a Russian military train. Ukrainian intelligence said the train they struck was carrying fuel in Zaporizhia. For 3 consecutive nights, Russia has launched massive drone attacks on Ukrainians, saturating its air defense. Amid this Russian offensive, German Chancellor Friedrich Merz allowed Kyiv to attack military positions in Russia, saying there were no longer any range restrictions on arms supplied by Western allies to Ukraine.
There are no longer any range restrictions on weapons delivered to Ukraine, neither from the British, nor from the French, nor from us, nor from the Americans. This means that Ukraine can now also defend itself by, for example, attacking military positions in Russia.
President Trump's efforts to broker peace have yet to yield significant concessions from the Kremlin, despite ongoing negotiations and several high-level phone calls. Russia's foreign ministry stated in its continuing to draft a memorandum of outlining principles for a possible peace accord, which it says will address ceasefire details and the timing of any settlement.
Russia continues to work on a draft memorandum on a future peace treaty, defining a number of positions, such as the principles of settlement, the timing of a possible peace agreement, and a potential ceasefire for a certain amount of time if appropriate agreements are reached.
From Washington, D.C., John Rosomando, president of Viking Research Associates, geostrategist and expert on national security, is joining us. Sir, welcome to WION. Thank you so much for joining us. How do you see President Trump's mediating efforts, hoping to bring peace between Russia and Ukraine? And what could be President Trump's next move, in your opinion?
Well, I think that, judging by President Trump's, statement over the weekend of his frustration with Vladimir Putin sending rockets and drones into civilian areas, that he's losing his patience here. And maybe starting to realize that his desire to bring peace isn't going to have any fruits, because the Russians have no interest in peace and the Ukrainians aren't going to surrender. So I think that the president is coming to the end of his rope here.
And how do you see Russia's statement saying that it is Ukraine, in fact, that's thwarting peace efforts by continuously attacking Russian civilian targets, and Russia is merely retaliating?
Well, I think that, that's just clever framing by the Kremlin, in that, the Russians have continually sent attacks at civilian targets in Ukraine, and this has just really become a tit-for-tat at this point. I mean, if the Russians wanted to, bring peace, they could declare a ceasefire on their side tomorrow. But they have not shown any interest in doing so.
Yeah, and now Germany is saying that restrictions must be removed from Ukraine when it comes to striking targets in Russia. What about that?
Well, I think that this is something that the Ukrainians have wanted for years, and that the West has feared Russian nuclear escalation and has imposed restrictions. I think that the Russians will probably ratchet up their response and intensifying their attacks in response to longer range attacks, maybe Ukrainians sending cruise missiles into Moscow and places farther on.
All right. Well, thank you so much for that analysis, John Rossomando. I look forward to speaking to you again very soon as we watch to see if President Trump will indeed mediate some sort of peace between the two sides or walk away from the deal altogether, as he's threatened.
For all the latest news, download the WION app and subscribe to our YouTube channel.